Time I'd like to call the Nash County Board of Education to order. I'm not going to call the roll. We have 100% present tonight. This time I would like everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. A motion by Dr. Chavis, second by Mr. Jenkins. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes. Motion by Mr. Whitfield.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gray. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Recognitions. Dr. Ellis.
Good evening. Nash County Public Schools shifts focus to pre-K families with new parenting curriculum. For the past 10 years, Nash County Public Schools has successfully implemented the Parenting Partners curriculum to support and empower families across the district. This year, the district is proud to announce a new focus on our pre-K parents through the introduction of the Parenting Partners Calm and Kind curriculum. This shift reflects our continued commitment to meeting families where they are and providing developmentally appropriate support. We invite you to watch this short video featuring powerful testimony from parents who successfully completed the program.
With Calm and Kind?
Well, my 4-week experience, it helped me a lot. I have 2 boys and they are a handful. They have a lot of energy. So it helps and they're 9 and 5, well 9 and 4, he get ready to be 5. But with the age difference, it helps with different strategies one might take well to this or the other one. So it really helped me. And to stay calm through it all.
In 4 weeks, I learned to be more calm, to redirect anger and frustrations, and to follow through on consequences.
4-week experience with Calm and Kind was not only educational, but it was very fun. We got to learn things while still engaging with each other and getting to know each other in the process as well. So yeah, Calm and Kind is very fun and it's very informative. You learn how to bond with people, not just who are, around you, but like your kids as well. So
I say it's definitely something that everyone should attend. You're going to pick up and learn a lot of things that not only can you use with your child, but any other person that you are involved with, anybody else in the home. It's just really good, and it'll be very beneficial to your children. And then pass this on to them so that communication is a lot better. And when you're calm and kind, so is your child.
As part of this inaugural implementation, 8 parents who are pictured on the screen completed the program. We commend them for their dedication to supporting their children's learning and well-being. We also would like to recognize and thank the dedicated staff members who made this program possible. When I call your name, please come forward. Facilitators, Angela King, Marletha Muhammad, Queen Boyd, Child Care Provider, Sharice Barfield. This evening, we are proud to share that Nash County Public Schools has received national recognition from the National School Public Relations Association. July 20th in Washington, D.C., our district was honored with two of the highest level awards we have ever earned in this national competition, based on the work from 2023 and 24 academic year. Nash County Public Schools received an award of merit for the plan of transfer demerger of Edgecombe County Public Schools and Nash County Public Schools, created in partnership with Edgecombe County. In addition, our district received an award of excellence, the top honor in this category for the rebranding of Nash County Public Schools initiative. This is the first time Nash County Public Schools has earned both an award of excellence and an award of merit in NCPS's Publication and Digital Media Excellence Award, placing our district among the best in school communication nationwide. And when I call your name, please come forward. Dr. Leondis Farrow, Sarita Lamb, Victor Ward, Caroline Johnson, and Heather Louise Finch. Michael Bauer nominated 3 ladies for their outstanding commitment to ensuring early college and city high students are transported to school. When I call your name, please come forward. Julie Awadala, Carrie Davis, and LaTanya Barnes. The next one I'm gonna call is Dr. McGahey, because he has been helping too, and I think he's been riding some buses. So come on down. He's had a busy week. Definitely had a busy week. The last one, I'm gonna recognize a whole lot of heroes. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize our transportation department, who is led by our Director of Transportation, Michael Bauer. With the following individuals, please come to the front. Michael Bauer, Kelvin Leonard, Latricia Morris, Brandon Hinton, Keith Tharrington, Tessica Howell, Keisha McClaston, Denise Hall, and Jessica Burt. These individuals represent members of our transportation department, including administration, office personnel, mechanics, drivers, and monitors. If there are other members from the transportation department present, please stand where you are. It has been an amazing start to the 2025-26 school year. It's because of the tireless and committed efforts of this team. COVID-19 didn't break them. Shortage of drivers and mechanics didn't break them, and neither did the barrage of negative social media posts by the department over the past 6 years. They get up early every morning as a collective team and work to ensure that students make it to and from school safely. The department is not perfect. Their efforts are sincere and their work ethic is unmatched. I know you do hear it often, but I stand before you this evening to let you know that we appreciate you as a district, and we salute Mr. Bauer and your team. Thank you. Got him over it.
Okay, each month, the first part of at least one regular scheduled board meeting will be set aside for citizens to address the board through public comment. Each speaker will receive 3 minutes to present comments. Tonight, we have no public input speakers, so we'll go to business items. Donations, Dr. Ellis.
So we are blessed this month. We have a lot of donations, so get ready. Middlesex Elementary School received book bags full of school supplies valued at $400 from the Church of God of Prophecy. Triangle Risk Advisors donated various school supplies totaling $500 to Middlesex Elementary. Eaton Corporation donated various school supplies, 55 book bags totaling $2,700 to Middlesex Elementary. ISG owner Gene Smith donated $500 to purchase any other supplies needed for students at Middlesex Elementary. Rocky Mount High School received a $200 donation to be used for the football program from Simmons and Harris. Rocky Mount High School received a $200 donation to be used for a volleyball program from Melvin and Laura Mitchell. Cooper's Elementary School received a donation from Luke and Lindsay Murray. The Murrays donated $400 towards gravel and brick to make a walkway for bus students. For the July 28th, 29th, new teacher orientation donations from Curriculum Associates, $642 for breakfast. Gizmos, AM snacks totaling $150. Letterland provided lunch, total of $1,000. Admitum door prizes, $100.
Mr. Chair, I make the motion.
I got
you got
more.
more?
Page 2. We might have to break them up. HMH PM snacks totaling $200. Style provided lunch for $998. CEANC AM snacks for $150. Learning.com door prizes valued at $25. State Employees Credit Union provided snacks and $200. Sabas Science Solutions, 4 bags and gift cards of $200. YCM Solutions provided breakfast, $898. Piggly Wiggly gift card, $50. Farm in the Dale provided tea and fruit jacks, $350. Providence Bank, 4 bags of swag, $100. Food Line gift cards, $25. Winston Avenue Elementary School art teacher received a $500 donation from Ryan Breen to be used for the Run Club. Red Oak Elementary has received a generous donation of $3,000 for teachers and supplies from Leanne Broyhill. And Nash Early College received a donation of $500 from Petro Avenue LLC, support of the international trip to Greece and Italy.
Now, Mr. Chair, with great appreciation, please let us make the motion to accept these donations.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Chavis, second by Dr. Washington. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, likewise, motion carried. Personnel recommendations, Ms. White.
Good evening, Chairman Lamb, Vice Chair Bissett, President Board members. The personnel report has been reviewed and discussed. On behalf of Dr. Ellis, your approval of the amended report is requested at this time.
Move to approve the report as amended.
Motion by Dr. Washington, Mr. Gray, second by Mr. Gray. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, likewise, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Administrative Services and Operations, Mr. Jenkins.
Last Thursday, we had a few items that we decided to bring to the full board for approval. The first one's the contract for Boys and Girls Club of the Tar River region. Ms. Morris presented any questions you might have for her before we chair takes a vote on that.
Any questions? I will entertain a motion to approve the contract. Motion by Zach Gray, second by Ricky Jenkins. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, likewise, motion carried.
Next one was Miss Miller gave us a whole lot of reading material in New Southern Nash Middle School. And that we decided to bring that to the full board. Anybody got any questions for Miss Miller? I'm sure she'd be glad to answer. And I'm sure she can answer them.
I will entertain a motion to approve Oakley Collier contract. Motion by Mr. Bennett. Second by Mr. Edwards. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise, motion carried. And Dr. Ellis, presented the student fees. And would you like to talk any more about that, Dr. Ellis, or?
We were just sending out, we sent out a form, I think, yesterday or so that we started, so we'll start compiling that information. You should get something in October, some sort of a draft, so we can go from there.
Anybody got any questions? Okay, thanks. Academic Services and Accountability, Mr. Bissett.
We just have one item for approval, and that would be field trips as presented by Mr. White during committee.
Okay,
I move to approve field trips as presented.
okay, motion by Dr. Washington,
Second.
second by Dr. Chavis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise, motion carried. EOC, EOG.
Yeah, so just Dr. Mudd gave us some good information on the EOC, EOGs. I know it was no action item, but I really would like for you to give us a little bit more information. I think you know now.
Yes, good evening. Mr. McQueen, you can pull up that presentation. So I've added some items to the presentation. Yesterday, the state board met and approved the data for the 24-25 school year. So now everything that we discussed last week is now public and available on DPI's website. And so we put together some information just to kind of share out some of the highlights from that, because as we've kind of already discussed last week, we had a successful year, and our students had a successful year. So this slide just talks about that everything is approved, and a reminder about the effects of the demerger, and a number of schools were impacted by that. So if you're comparing 23, 24, and 24, 25, some of those schools, it may not be necessarily apples to apples, so to speak, because the student populations are going to be different. And in some cases, the schools are completely different grade levels. So I'll just keep that in mind. That we've also talked about our increase in proficiency, and questions came about retesting is what a lot of people call it. And the science tests were unable to be provided as an additional opportunity for testing because they were being renormed. And so I just kind of compiled together some information about our testing from last year. So in total, our students took 17,000, a little over 17,000 EOG and EOCs combined together for the 24-25 school year. 2,800 of those were science assessments that were renormed. So there was no opportunity for those students to take that assessment again and to demonstrate proficiency a second time. However, during our summer program, we did administer 3,900 additional opportunity assessments to students. 2/3 of those students improved their score after a brief remediation of a couple of days, and then another opportunity to take the test. 20% of those students were proficient on that second opportunity that were not proficient on the first opportunity. That's a really large number for summer opportunity testing. Most districts don't get 20% of their students proficient on the second opportunity. And then in total of those 17,000 EOGs and EOCs that were administered, 15% of them, the student is using the score that they took in the summer second opportunity assessment. And so essentially the state allows students and schools to replace the higher of the two scores, right? And so 15% of the total tests for our district that are going into school performance grades, EVOS growth, et cetera, came from that summer opportunity, additional opportunity. So it just really demonstrates the importance of that and the effectiveness of the program that we currently have in place. And one of the reasons that's important is one, school performance grades. So you guys, some of you asked about schools that were kind of on that bubble, and if they had a science opportunity, yes, if 2,800 students, some of them would have passed the first time. So let's say 1,000 students maybe weren't proficient in science. If they came back to the summer and 20% of them were proficient, those scores, 200 more scores would have been added to some of those schools' SPGs, which would have really helped. In addition, growth would have been added to the schools. And then those scores, the better of the two scores, those are used in students scheduling for the upcoming school year. So there were some students who weren't proficient, came back to summer, and now they were proficient, which opened up opportunities potentially for an honors course or for Math 1 in middle school when they didn't meet that requirement the first time. And then just teachers in general now have access to see that that student was proficient and is capable of performing at a higher level than they originally indicated, which is used to kind of help them plan out the next school year, right? So just a highlight of how important and how effective that program was for us over the summer. So now for the part that everyone is excited about, the school performance grades. And so these are the A through F. You can just go to the next slide. You don't have to click on that. The big highlight from that is that 74% of our schools received a C or higher which is a huge accomplishment, which as you'll see on the next slide, comparing where we've come from over the years. That's the highest percentage we've ever had in the district in terms of schools receiving a C or higher, beating out last year, which was the second, previously the highest at 68%. But you can see coming out of COVID, we were at 20% of our schools with a C or higher. So just in a few short years, we've gone up to 74%. And that's even, 30 points higher than we were before COVID in terms of the percentage of our schools receiving a C or higher. So really the past 2 years have been exceptional in terms of the performance of our students and schools. Just a reminder about the formula before we get into the grades. 80% of the score comes from proficiency on mainly EOGs and EOCs, but the high schools have a couple other things, graduation rate, et cetera. And then 20% comes from the growth of the EOGs, and then in high school from the EOCs of math and English. And so the next slide is a chart of the school performance grades. The column on the far left, I cut off the dates to get it to fit on the slide here a little bit. The column on the far left is 24-25, the last school year. And so you can see the scores and the letter grades and the growth status there in the left-hand column. Column in the middle is 2023-2024. So that's the previous school year that we had the information from. And then the column on the far right is 2018-19. So that's the year right before COVID happened. And kind of where we were before everyone talks about the COVID slide and the recovery from COVID. And so you can see if you compare the scores across the scores on the left for, I think all but 2 schools are higher than they were before COVID. And so we've not only in a lot of cases recovered from the slide, but our students are performing higher than they were prior to the pandemic. And at any point in the past decade for a lot of schools actually. So you can see some things to point out there. We have a school that's an A, the early college. It's the 6th year in a row. I think they're an A. We have 3 other schools that are a B. It's the first time we've had that many schools that are a B. Cooper's early college, Cooper's City High School and Nash Central High School. So it's the first time we've had 2 traditional schools earn a B in a year. We also had Nash Central High School with some significant growth. They're one of the highest in the state with their growth score of 8.82. And so just overall, a lot of things to highlight there. We do have technically more low-performing schools than we had the previous year. So we've increased proficiency, got the highest proficiency we've ever had. But then based on the way the formula works and some of the numbers and the way it gets manipulated and reported at each school level, we actually have more schools that are designated low-performing just with how, the growth in some of the schools. Part of that goes to demerger. So for example, Winstead Avenue used to not receive a score. Now they do. This is the first year that they're receiving a score. And so there are some things like that to kind of play in that. So for Edwards and Winstead Avenue, those are kind of baseline years. And hopefully we'll see some significant growth from them like we have the other schools, and they won't be on the list anymore. NETA is something to point out just due to the size of the student population. Some of their students don't actually get calculated into the score because they don't have enough students in certain grade levels. So for example, their graduation rate's not included in there, but the other high schools are because they didn't have at least 30 students graduate. I think they were in the 20s. So they're like 3 or 4 students away from having enough for that to count. Their ACT doesn't count. Their math course rigor doesn't count. So they don't get some of those bonuses. Whereas the previous year they had like 31 students in their graduating class. So they got credit for all those. So that right there, just the number of students in their 12th grade class basically accounts for their 6-point drop. They actually had an increase, as you saw last Thursday, in a number of areas in proficiency, but because they lost those indicators on their grade, their school performance grade rise. So that's kind of what I talked about with some of the things. It doesn't always make sense in terms of just a straight, and we increase proficiency, so everybody should be fine. Just some tweaks to the formula. So the next slide just highlights some of the most significant growth. So we've got schools that increased their school performance grade by a significant amount. So Cooper's and Inglewood increased their grade by 8 points. Nash Central High School increased their grade by 7 points. Nashville increased by a whopping 13 points. Rocky Mount Middle School increased by 9 points. And then on the right, you have schools that that's the change in growth. So it's not necessarily their growth score, but it's the increase in growth from the previous year. So Cooper's, their growth score this year is 4.72 points higher than their growth score was last year. Nash Central High, almost 7 points higher. Nashville, 7 points higher. Rocky Mount Middle School, 4 points. Rocky Mount High School, 4 points. And Southern Nash High School, 6 points higher in growth score from the previous year. Just kind of a reminder, the data came out yesterday. I've spent all day yesterday and today kind of looking through it, but haven't had enough time to get into every 2,600 schools across the state to see. But typically, only about 25% of the schools increase their score year over year. A lot of times there's kind of a fluctuation up and down. 39% of the schools in our district have 2 years of consecutive increases in their school performance score. And those schools are listed there: Benvenue, Inglewood, Hubbard, Nass Central High, Nass Central Middle, Nashville, Northern High School, Rocky Mountain High School, and Southern Nash Middle School. Remember, Edwards and Winstead don't have 2 years of data, so they couldn't be in this chart to begin with because they're new schools. And then in terms of growth status, typically less than 25% of schools exceed growth 2 years in a row. Like typically you exceed growth, and then there's kind of a drop off a little bit to meet or not meets, and then maybe they exceed growth again, but it's kind of this up and down pattern. 26% of our schools exceeded growth 2 years in a row: City, Inglewood, Nass Central Middle, Nass Central High, Northern High, Early College, and Southern Nash Middle. And then of those that exceed 2 years in a row, less than 10% do it 3 years in a row. And we had 17% of our schools that are on their third consecutive year of exceeding growth: City, Northern Nash, Early College, and Southern Nash Middle School. So just some sustained success at a lot of those schools. So now into some like individual rankings in terms of where our schools compared to other schools across the state. So this is in terms of overall growth at the school. And so we had 12 schools that are in the top 20% of all schools in the state in terms of the amount of growth or the significance of the growth made over the last year, highlighted by Nass Central High School being 43rd. So if you rank all the schools in the state, their growth was 43rd if you put them in order. Early College, top 5% as well. Nashville, Coopers, Southern Nash High School, and Inglewood all in the top 10%. And then several others in the top 20%. And so the next several slides are going to kind of show the same thing, but broken down by different subjects or subgroups. So for math specifically, math growth is only reported for elementary and middle schools or grades 3 through 8. So high schools don't get a math only score. But 6 of our schools, if you take the high schools out, 6 of our schools are ranked in the top 20% for math growth. The next slide is reading growth. So same thing, only grades 3 through 8 report reading growth by itself. Nashville, 25th in the state, if you put that in order out of 2,049 schools, so top 1% in reading growth at Nashville. So fantastic job there. And so now some subgroup growth information. So this is growth among subgroups. So for our Black subgroups, and remember, when you get to subgroups, not every school is going to have a subgroup. You have to have at least 30 students in an area in order to report a subgroup. And so these numbers will be a little bit less than some of the others, but 1,900 schools across the state have a Black subgroup, and we had 12 of our schools who were in the top 20% for growth among that subgroup. And you can see again, Nass Central High School in the top 1%, and Nashville, Rocky Mountain High, and Inglewood in the top 5%. Early College, Rocky Mountain Middle, and Northern Nash in the top 10%. So a lot of growth in the subgroup there. Next subgroup is our EDS, that's economically disadvantaged students. So a lot of times people refer to that like free and reduced lunch students. We're CEP districts, so that's a little bit different for us, but that's the same group of students. Again, 11 schools in the top 20%. And as you'll see, is kind of a pattern here. If you had significant school-wide growth, and your subgroups probably also made growth, so you'll start seeing a lot of the same schools over and over again. But top 10% in growth for that subgroup: Nash Central, Early College, Southern Nash Middle, Nashville, Inglewood, Southern Nash High, Coopers, and Northern Nash High, all in the top 10%. And then EL, this is one of our smaller subgroups. So these are our English learners, students who don't speak English as their primary language. We had 3 schools in the top 20% for that. And we only have a handful of schools that currently have a subgroup, and it fluctuates a little bit every year. Again, you have to have 30 students in a tested area for it to demonstrate a subgroup. And so Southern Nash Middle School was in the top 10%, but Hubbard and Southern Nash High also showing significant growth with those students. And then our Hispanic subgroups are different from the EL. These are just students who identify as Hispanic. We had 6 schools in the top 20% for growth there, topped by Southern Nash High and Southern Nash Middle again. Students with disabilities, so students with an IEP. Again, not every school is going to have subgroups here in this one, but we had 4 schools in the top 20% for growth with our students with disabilities. And then our white subgroup, again, we had some schools who don't have a white subgroup, again, thinking about student populations, but we had 5 schools in the top 20% for white subgroup, highlighted by Coopers, Nashville, and Nass Central High in the top 10%. And then among Title I schools, so we have several of our schools receive Title I funding. And so if you look at the 1,600 or so Title I schools across the state, we had 5 that were in the top 20% of all Title I schools for growth. So that's Nashville, Coopers, Inglewood in the top 10%, and then Rocky Mountain Middle School and City High also performing well. So kind of in summary of all of the information, a lot of highlights, still obviously a lot of room to grow every year in terms of proficiency and growth. But some of the things just to really kind of pull out for this past school year, as I said last week, this year our students' proficiency rate overall for all grades, all subjects, all administrations of the test was 48%, which is the highest that it's been in at least the last 10 years that I could find data available for. We had the highest percentage of schools ever earning a C or higher, 74%. Most schools that we've ever had earning an SPG of a B or higher. I mean, that was 4 schools that we had receive a B. And then our cohort graduation rate increased by 2.5 points to 85.8% for cohort graduation. So a lot of things to celebrate across the district, but also individually at specific schools. So does anyone have any questions about the information or the data or the year or anything that I could? Yes, ma'am.
Awesome report. Let me start by saying that. I just had a question about Tar River Academy back on slide 14. I didn't see it go all the way out and I didn't know.
So they're on the alternative school model. And so that's kind of changed over the years a little bit. So like it eventually back before COVID, it was on a completely different type of model. And so they didn't always receive a grade. They've always received a rating of maintaining, progressing, or declining, but only in the past 3 or 4 years when they kind of re-upped the federal legislation, the ESSA plan, they required that they needed to have a grade. And so the grade is reported just in compliance with the ESSA plan, but they're on an alternative model. So that's why back in 2018-19, there's not a grade there. It still says progressing, but there's no grade.
Didn't see one for this one. I thought I was seeing one previously, like a C or B, I maybe was in the wrong one, but I wasn't seeing one on the current one.
To see,
Just all the way.
they don't have a growth score.
Right.
Right, because they don't report growth because their model's different, but they still get a C. So they were 57C and
Right,
progressing. Last year, 84B progressing, and then 2018-19, they don't have a score because it wasn't required to be reported at the time, and so it wasn't reported that year.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's just a different model. They don't follow the same 80-20%, and they have different indicators that you guys approved at the August board meeting, I believe, right? So it's just different.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
had seen
different spec,
points
yeah.
and scores for them in certain areas, so I was curious.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Yes, sir. Mr.
Now,
Craig.
how will this information be shared with the general public so that they will know of the great things that are going on in the public school system here in Nash County?
Yeah, so I believe the communications department's been working on a press release to go out today or to go out, I'm not sure when, but they've been working on that today. And so I think that's going to be presented. I know that, you know, I've seen multiple news outlets kind of let everyone know that you can go check your school's information. But I don't know that, you know, a lot of places have put out something specific. I know DPI has put out some specific things about the statewide data as a whole in terms of some of the increases that have been seen there. But it would be up to the communications department to kind of share that. And I think they've been working on that. So I don't know when it's coming, but hopefully it's coming soon.
Is this information sent to all parents?
I think we sent it to all parents.
Yeah, it's not, nothing's reported like this, like district wide that goes out to all parents that I'm aware of, other than like information that's available on the website or those type of things. But I don't know that there's anything specifically sent out, other than like a communication kind of
And my
put out.
question is, because if the school is failing, aren't we required to send that information to the school saying that your child is at a failing school? And maybe I'm wrong.
No.
We do. We
Then
have
why
to.
can we
So-
not make sure we send out information saying your child is at a passing school? They need to know what is going on at the school. So there's no question about the quality of education that our students are receiving here in Nash County Public Schools. Somebody mentioned a billboard. I don't know if that's. If that's overreaching.
Think of a lot of.
Make sure that people know that they are in a quality school system. This has a rippling effect for our students. It opens up many opportunities for them in the future, also for our community, because we understand that industry, business look at schools' performances and they decide, do we want to locate here? Do we want to encourage our employees to move to this community to assure that their children are receiving a quality education? We must blow this up.
Amen.
And we can. We'll definitely do that. Yeah, I think national.
National, I thought they shared their
North
information.
side
on Facebook.
t-shirts is passing out again.
As they should. They had a great year.
But he should. Great achievement. Spray paint field.
And we need to make sure that we recognize everyone from our senior cabinet members here down to anybody in that school who has played a part in making sure that our children are successful on these tests. Not just on these tests, but successful in life. We need to make sure that we applaud them and thank them for what they're doing. Because education is not easy and education should not be taken lightly. These achievements are outstanding and we need to make sure we recognize everybody for playing a part in this accomplishment. We need to recognize those students for a job well done. We need to encourage them to continue it up and we need to push them to continue moving forward.
Anything else, Mr. Muddy?
And I'm
We
finished.
need to learn how to celebrate.
Yes, no, but thank you.
Policy Committee, Mr. Week.
Mr. Chairman, if you'll see, we have 45 policies on the agenda for tonight. I have shared with the policy committee most of these already. Mr. Weber went over these, did a little synopsis on some of them on Thursday night. Unless there's an objection, I'm going to break these down into 4 different motions, and we'll go from there. The first motion, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board remove policy 3400, evaluation of student progress, from the agenda, and this is identified on the board agenda as item 25. Staff needs to make further revisions and will bring it back to the policy committee meeting. That is my first motion.
Motion by Mr. Weeks, second by Mr. Edwards. All in favor, say aye. All opposed likewise, motion carried.
Motion number 2, I move that the board approve the following policies on second read. For clarity, these policies are identified on the public board meeting agenda as items 1 to 24 and 26 to 33. These policies were proposed at the August 4th board meeting and approved for first reading. They are now returning for final approval on second reading.
Motion by Mr. Weeks, second by Mr. Dunton. All in favor, say aye. All opposed likewise, motion carried.
My third motion, I move the board waive second reading and approve the following policies on first reading. For clarity, these policies are identified on the board agenda as items 34 to 40. These policies were discussed at the August 28th policy meeting. And that is my motion.
Motion by Mr. Weeks, second by Dr. Washington. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise, motion carried.
And the fourth and final, I move the board approve the following policies for first read to sit for 30 days and return for final approval on second reading at a later board meeting. These policies are identified on the board meeting agenda as items 41 to 45. These policies were discussed at the August 28th policy meeting.
Motion by Mr. Weeks, second by Mr. Gray. All in favor, say aye. All opposed likewise, motion carried.
And that concludes our
Student Support Services and Operations, Dr. Chavis.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the Student Support Service and Operation Committee met on August 28th, and all committee members were present. There was one item for update on transportation given by Mr. Byers, and we adjourned.
Superintendent's report.
So I'm gonna echo, Mr. Gray talked about celebrating. It was a great week last week also for Nash County Public Schools. The state superintendent came and visited the early college and, he loved Dr. McGahey and Frederick Lindsay so much, who's a student, that he invited him to the state board meeting. And I'm assuming our communication department's gonna have our video because he filmed a press conference. I guess it was at lunch during the board meeting where Dr. McGahey and Frederick, a student, talked about their experience at the early college. And I hope y'all know there's 115 districts and he picked 2 that day. One was Nash. So I commend that faculty and just all the faculties. And I'm gonna read, and I know Heather's already got a statement that she's putting out tomorrow, which is wonderful because it could be 2 pages. It's so much good stuff. But I know Dr. Bud knows I've already been on the website. We only have 22.7% schools low performing. Y'all, that's phenomenal. And I'll be the Scrooge over here because we should have had 2 that should have made it if they'd have did some other stuff, but I'll hush. I didn't get to say that yesterday at the state board meeting. But these are great numbers. When you talk about 74% of our schools are in A, B, or C, that is just great. So staff members, principals, everyone involved, my team, thank you so much. People thought we were crazy a few years ago, and they know that we're going to celebrate, but then we're going to move on because we got a whole lot more stuff we need to do. So this is a great week for us, and I just appreciate all your help. It's a fun ride. I do want to say that we have a September 19th work day. This is an option work day coming up, and that is my report.
Only thing I'm gonna do is echo on what Mr. Gray said earlier. You know, we're not used to celebrating a whole lot in Nash County. And we all know it takes all the spokes in the wheel to make the wheel round. Get ready to get a good head start on this year's work. And that's my report. Schedule upcoming meetings. Board of Education Committee meeting Monday, September 29th. September work session is Monday, October 6th. September board meeting, Monday, October 6th. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Bissett, second by Mr. Whitfield. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise, motion carried. Thank you. Have a good night.